Hello.
Hello.
Appreciate Zoom making sure that I understand the meeting is being streamed live before I turn the camera on.
Just want to make sure, right? Let's see.
I have a meal. I'm currently not in desperate need of eating it, but if that status changes, I will turn off my camera for the duration.
We're not going to get a display of big anime. Nom 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 nom.
Oh, let's not. Let's not. I didn't
Just
say we
just shove
didn't.
it all in. No, we're
Speaking of oh, go for it.
no, I was just say it's like we're doing magical girls. I mean, where's your toast that you can just put in your mouth and just start running?
Hi, David.
Hey, good to see everyone.
Before we get started, a few quick things. Just a friendly reminder that not all of the magical girls use she, her pronouns. So just be aware. And then also where we left off last time is just revisiting a possible playset ability for the series. We tentatively stuck in Redemption because that was a big one that I think Fumi was interested in initially. But it looks like there might be some others. Just open it up to the table to whoever wants to talk about that. Fumi, I
Yeah, I
think.
did
Go ahead.
put down a few of them in my notes for possible consideration. Particularly like the Never Alone one might be as like possibly fitting as well. And then I looked in some of the other series for outside influence and thought like these two might also sound possibly fitting. If any of them like it's like probably it's like if anyone strikes out to or anything strikes out to anyone in particular as interesting.
So if you're looking for the other playset rules here in the character keeper, I don't have them in here, but Fumi has them in their notes.
Yeah, so it's like if I'm not misinterpreting the outside influence, it's choose from another source, which I think meant like to choose from another series.
Yep.
And so I saw Heroes of the People, where when your mission protects someone or something important, gain +1 dice for it's like +1 die to the engagement roll, and when no innocents are harmed during the course of a mission, mark series XP or academy trained, each protagonist adds +1 action rating to perceive, flow, and analyze, which means that for those who already have a pip in any of those three, it would give them a second pip because it's just a straight +1. And then Never Alone from this place, a protagonist may use teamwork regardless of the distance separating them. When you assist a teammate from afar, ask that player one question about their character from your gather info list. Seemed like at least for it's like for our party at least it seemed like we were making pretty good use of assisting each other in the last mission. So yeah, I'm not sure if any of those in particular stuck out more than Redemption for anyone.
David, you're muted.
Oops, I'm kind of good with all of the above. So yeah, I'm kind of gonna respectfully abstain, I think.
I still like Redemption, but I also note Academy trained hits a bunch of very useful looking skills. And Hero of the People does sort of it sort of rings with the very visible public faces that we have.
Yeah, and if nothing really strikes out particularly strongly to people, we can just stick with Redemption. So it's like that we're not spending too much time contemplating. So it seems like there's no particular like strong ifs, ands, or buts. It's like I guess we can just stick with redemption for now.
Sure.
And then probably like choose something else if we get enough series XP for it.
Sure. All right. So in my notes, I have that we have 2 downtimes remaining, one with Adele and one with Sarah.
Yep.
Would either of you like to start us off?
I can start unless Sarah wants to go first.
No, you can start.
All right, then in that case, I'll go ahead and use my last downtime action to investigate where in the world Oda is and if I can find her, considering it's like, okay, at this point in time, it's like, Adele is like, it's not the first time they've been left alone for this long, but at the same time, it doesn't happen frequently. And so it's like to kind of be left unsupervised for this long. It's like sometimes it's like strikes them as a bit almost to the point of paranoia, if simply because it's like they're so used to Oda, it's like constantly watching them. And then it's like that funny thing of like, oh no, I'm not, it's like it doesn't look like I'm being actively watched, which means I'm probably somehow being watched harder, if that makes sense. And so yeah, they're gonna go ahead and go, it's like investigate where in the world are they? It's like where in the world is Oda and what she's like what she's up to.
What does that look like for Adele? Where do they go and what do they do to try and hunt down Oda?
Let's see, they'll probably start with the it's like where their tent or it's like where they're staying in this particular district for it's like this part of the parade and everything. It's like see if there might be possibly some sort of note or any sort of communication that Oda might have it's like left behind, suggesting that like, oh, maybe she has something to take care of, or basically any sort of hint like that. And otherwise, if there isn't, probably investigating where it's like probably investigating basically like the recent locations. It's like any of the most recent locations where they've had to basically fraternize with the other houses and nobles. It's like for any possible indication.
Yeah, so we can start off at the tent. I think that there is like a house guard stationed there in the front, very conspicuously, just standing in front of the entrance to the tent. They say, "Hold there, Adele. Oda's not around. Is there something you need?"
Yes, actually, I was wondering if you've heard anything as to where it's like she might possibly be. I don't believe I've heard from her recently.
Okay, let's make that roll. You'll see how many questions you get, and that might help us out here too. What kind of action do you think? Going up.
This might possibly be more of a fortune roll. So,
okay.
And so that would probably be 1 die.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't do very well with questions.
Well, you get 1, and then I think we advance the investigation clock twice.
Let's see, I suppose. Let's see, in this situation would be who here can best help me?
Oh, okay. So they say that they set up the tent. The house has set up the tent for Oda, but Oda never arrived, and that she was on, they were told, very important business. So sometime between when the parade started and ended up here in this location, Oda sort of vanished. and they say that it's unlike Oda, which they suspect and that on Oda's like schedule of activities, there is one that is particularly odd because Oda has a very, I think, set schedule within the house. Stalk and make sure that Adele is doing everything Adele's supposed to be doing.
Just like their schedule, it shows the full 24 hours, but it's all just that one particular activity.
Right. Yeah. I think so. But in this particular case, it says that they have a meeting with the matron of House Ignis.
Well, it's like that's certainly convenient considering it's like they had originally considered investigating House Ignis, and then the paranoia of it's like, wait, I haven't it's like checked with Oda. It's like, and I might get in trouble if I don't. It's like Adele it's like thanks the it's like guard. It's like excuses themselves and it's like is about to it's like excuse themselves it's like fully before they it's like occurs to them. It's like, do you happen to it's like know where the it's like matron is like where it's like the matron of House Ignis maybe it's like staying at this time?
They kind of lean in to make sure nobody can overhear, and they say, "I don't know, but she should be easy enough to find. And be careful. I hear that regalia is a lot of smiles, but there's poison underneath."
Sarah, it's like, do you think any of the magic girls have encountered regalia it's like personally before?
I would say, at least when it comes to, I would say Alhena and Frida probably have experienced them enough. I think Sarah put an active effort to make sure that Violet never had to deal with that.
It's like Adele basically sort of nods slowly and goes, it's like, yes, unfortunately that is normal. It's like given it's like our sort of positions. Thank you. It's like, thank you kindly. And then it's like excuses himself properly this time. And yeah, I think that's good for it's like this downtime action.
Okay. Yeah. So I can answer that. I think I talked about it a little bit last session while I was asking a bunch of questions, and I never actually told everybody once everybody was in. But here are the house names that everybody came up with for their houses. We have House Hephaestus for Violet, House Ignis for Sarah, House Castores for Adele, and House Alnatak for Frida. Sarah.
Well, now my temptation of going and doing the one little pip of the harm on Alhena, but from my understanding, Alhena is not too keen on wasting that efficiency.
I mean, I think they can. It's like they still have another 4 harm slots they can run with.
You know what? Because I can't seem to win that argument at this point. Let's see. You know what? I'll let Alhena have it this one time, just because it's only one harm. I'll take that argument for now.
I mean, remember, Sarah was off losing it's like running through, it's like the fun house losing her shoes when it's like Alhana got that harm. So.
That's fair. I will accept that. Then I will just go ahead and I'll do a connection with Violet.
Okay.
And I would go ahead.
I just said okay.
Now, given everything and all that's been kind of happening throughout this day, a very eventful day, where would Violet be at this point in time as we're getting kind of, I guess, closer to the mission time, I guess?
Let's see. Depends on the time of day. If a mission happens at night, she is maybe doing some kind of offering to old ancestral members of House Hephaestus. You know, they've got the big pictures on the altar and, you know, like the incense and, you know, like you do. So I'm in my ceremonial garb throwing down some incense.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that would actually be pretty easy. I would think in this situation, because it's getting close to the mission and everything, and Sarah's kind of at this point trying to just not go home at the moment, for fear that going home may or may not be harder to get out in time for the mission. They're kind of just they kind of at first just kind of come over to where Violet is kind of, I guess, doing their kind of I guess you could say like a ritual in a say. Would you say?
Yeah, just kind of like paying respects,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I'd say that they kind of politely kind of almost like bow in a and in a kind of sense of like sorry for the intrusion before kind of just quietly sitting off to off kind of into the side of and everything, kind of watching as you kind of just, you know, do your little paying the tribute thing to your family and all.
Yep, I'm going through my little song and dance, you know, I'll kind of do a little bow, place some, you know, a stick of incense into the bowl of ash, light it, do a little bow, step back, and without looking at you, um, I'll just kind of say something to the effect of, well, how are you feeling?
Uh, pretty pretty good. A little on edge of like whether or not any unique things await for us tonight. How about yourself?
Yeah. Same. I wonder what this is all moving toward.
Yeah, I've been wanting that too. And it I have a feeling that it's not really an over or done deal when it comes to its intent to involve Ian um and Rose. I have a feeling that we still have to be on our guard for that and kind of be wary that it still intends to involve others, potentially others who are closer to us, as I feel like it's almost in a way specifically targeting those nearest to us.
Yeah, it seems to be. Is Oh, actually, let me double check something on the character keeper here. I'll ask if anyone you're close with has been targeted by this conspiracy.
Hmm, not that I'm aware of. I mean, not not like it's outright made it a thing for me to notice, but I mean, it's not like we were readily aware that it even targeted Ian until we saw him in that, well, creature of mirrors and such. So, I mean, anything's possible. But at least nobody has gone missing since I last talked to anyone. But that's been a bit. Has Rose been good? Do you know where, if she's safe still right now?
Unless something's changed since I last left her, she's doing okay.
Speaking of like family and such like that, what do you think about family? Like, obviously Rose matters a whole lot to you. And I guess for starters, like, you seem to also be, well, one, kind of paying tribute and respects to your to even your past family and everything like that. I'm curious. You might be aware enough as is, with given it's not necessarily a secret that I'm adopted, so I'm always curious about those whose family they've always had and everything. Like, what do you think is family? And I guess also, what's the difference between family and friend to you?
Well, I guess my family are people who I have an obligation to help, people who I have some responsibility toward, and who in turn have a responsibility toward me. I guess the difference is that I don't always get to choose who those people are.
Well, that makes sense, in a way. So, if would you say then that to be family, you would have to have mutual obligations to each other, or can it be one-sided, or is it? I'm just kind of
Well,
curious on that.
doesn't always end up mutual. Rose hasn't done a whole lot for me lately, but I still go out of my way for her willingly.
Yeah, and I mean, and then there's, I guess the other thing is like, would you consider your friends your family, or would you consider that something wholly different to you?
I don't know. More the same than different, I guess. Why do you ask?
Oh, I'm just got a lot on my mind. Just trying to, I'm one, I really just, I'm not used to really uh having like a family that I was born into. So it's uh, always trying to figure out like what others consider family, what's different than maybe my family versus others. And then like the thing of like the obligations, as you mentioned, to it, and the differences between family and friend, and just always a lot of questions when it comes to that. I've never really, I guess you could say that prior to being adopted, whatever I considered family was really just whoever was friends with me, considering it's not like anybody like would acknowledge me as their child or anything like that beforehand. And so it's different. I always like to hear the other person's perspectives.
Do you
So,
want to offer incense with me?
oh yeah, I would love to.
And I'll kind of stroll over with the sticks and sort of hand you a few and sort of start to walk you through the procedure.
And she kind of follows along with the procedure very quietly. Um, and I would say like once it's kind of, I would say like part of the offering the incense, I'm assuming, is like kind of that kind of quiet kind of reflection and like and like kind of just closing your eyes, kind of like feeling the atmosphere, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, the subtle message here is that that is something that you normally would do with your family.
Okay.
And I have offered you. Would you like to do this with me?
Yeah, and
I don't say
think
that explicitly, but that's the
yeah,
implication.
no, yeah, and I think that's not really lost on Sarah in that situation. And I would say after this kind of nice kind of like moment, taking this in and feeling kind of a nice little unique kind of connection with just an actual like kind of family kind of experience here in a way that they were invited to be a part of. They just kind of randomly, just kind of out of the top of their head, they're like, so out of curiosity, if your family asked you to do something that you didn't feel like was you, or didn't feel like it felt right to do, but it wasn't necessarily illegal or anything like that, just something that you personally didn't want to do, uh, would you do that out of the obligation, or would you say no to it?
I don't do things out of obligation. I do them out of love. But with that being said, I probably would do it.
And she kind of just reflects a bit, kind of looking up at kind of at the ceiling of your place, and it's like, yeah, no, I understand entirely what you're talking about, and I mean, after all, I saw everything that you did for Rose and everything. It makes sense. I mean, you would do anything to protect her, wouldn't you?
Yeah, pretty much anything.
That's a really good line to end the scene on, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sure, yeah, that is.
Okay. Sarah, what action are you rolling?
I would say in this case, because she is trying to empathize, she's trying to understand, but also there's the thing of that she's kind of in a way indirectly kind of confessing some inner turmoil and thoughts on things, but not outright saying it. So it's between those kind of ones I'm thinking, or express.
And Violet, did you enjoy this?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. So because this is share, make a connection, you get one dice because Violet enjoyed it. One because probably either empathize or confess. I like confess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then one additional die because of your ability. So 3 dice.
3 dice and roll. Hey, a nice 6. I'll take that.
Nice.
All
So
right.
Violet
Yep.
gets 4 links.
Sweet.
With technically anybody.
Yeah. So we have now 12 whole links to just kind of throw at the entire party if we need to.
Very nice.
Which who knows, we might need that with this mission.
So wait, did I get 4 links, did you say?
Yes, you did.
Sweet.
Okay, so that wraps up our downtime. Next, we move on to the mission phase. I kind of liked last time how we had a get-together scene while we figured out what it was we were actually going to do. And we have a lot of open lines of
threads.
action, so that sounds like a great place to start. Back at the hideout.
So I would say, kind of as we're kind of entering into this hideout and everything, Sarah is just gonna pick up our good old little bunny friend here, almost, and just kind of start kind of like pick him up, kind of sit on like a couch there and start petting them and everything, and all, while kind of looking at about everybody as they kind of all kind of like assemble in a sense, and just kind of tilting their head and all. It's like, so I haven't really heard or about anything or talked to you guys much on, well, the current predicaments that we've been experiencing. Has anyone heard or found anything of interest? Anything that's kind of standing out that we might need to look into?
I have been hearing a lot of movement from House Ignis, actually, of all things. Are you familiar with anything regarding that, Sarah?
Sarah's eyes kind of go kind of in that sense of like briefly kind of like widen it before kind of like going back to normal out of the sudden like surprise / shock of it all, but like before it kind of like stops, the dilation kind of stops for a moment, and then it's like, no, not that I can think of. I mean, the only thing I saw was the only thing I've really even known anything with my family aside from like doing our normal everyday like fun with the parade this morning is uh I don't remember her name off the top of my head here, but like what Violet told me, Violet's had a thing with them that I collected and brought back to our hideout. It was and they were going to meet with my mother, I think. But aside from that, like there's been a lot of people wanting to meet with my mother today, but I assume that's just with the festivities and the usual. I don't think there's anything I've seen or heard that's out of the norm.
That is fair, considering they considering, I suppose, they wouldn't really be apt about communicating anything with you more so. What about the rest of you? Have either of you seen anything or heard anything strange? How are your family doing, respectively?
And when I was talking to Ian previously about what happened to him, did he draw or sketch the house, the manor house with the garden?
I like that idea a lot. Yeah, I think after your one-on-one at the art museum, whatever piece he was drawing, I think he kind of left there as he like picked up his stuff and started walking away, and maybe we just saw Frida just grab the paper, and it was this large, beautiful mansion with this surrounding, well manicured garden.
I lay the sketch down on I lay the sketch down on a flat surface and say, I want to know who lives there. Does anyone recognize that house?
Do I recognize that particular manor?
Or do any of us?
How good is Ian's drawing of the house?
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think Ian is an aspiring artist.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Actually, is there any sort of symbolism or anything with that house that might help us identify who it belongs to? Because it's if it's a house of nobility, chances are there is various symbolism or motifs or something associated with that house's identity, right?
I love that. So let's toss this out there in case anybody has any great ideas. What's the name of the house that was well connected and then suddenly just kind of vanished off the face of the earth? This probably happened before season 1, but maybe it came up for some reason during season 1. And then it was like just kind of dropped.
I almost want to go thematic because the idea of oh, it's like a house that used to be prominent and then fell into obscurity almost it fits like a Hallel or Lucifer kind of theming.
Is House Morningstar 2 on the nose?
I don't know if you can be too on the nose.
I can probably come up with a name. It's like in a bit if we want to move on to like other questions.
We have that list of names too. Is there something that's close to Morningstar or Lucifer that draws our mind to it?
Where's our list of names again?
It's on the series tab at the bottom.
Oh, right.
Phosphorus.
Burns bright and goes out. I'm okay with that. And I think that's probably their heraldry too, is like some kind of burning star in the center surrounded by something that is meant to represent shadow. And so they're on the mansion, probably above like a large set of double doors. Above the entry is this symbol representing House Phosphorus. It was well connected. Any major to-do family had had something to do with them in the past, and then suddenly they kind of just vanished off the face of the earth prior to season 1. So that's what you know. Since you know, all of you in some way, shape, or another have connections to a major house, finding additional information would probably be super easy.
Yeah, I can imagine probably it's like Adele's house has dealt with them before, whether on a superficial level or on a more cooperative it's like level perhaps or whatnot. But yeah, I can imagine there was it's like likely some connection with them before they suddenly disappeared. Let's see. Yeah, I suppose like would it be possible for me to it's like use this as it's like to gather information or gather info?
What is it you're trying to gather? Sorry.
Let's see. I think I'm going to run with the it's like likelihood that like Adele's house has it's like basically had some it's like previous connections with this house, and I think I want it's like so I want to sort of gather it's like see if I can like perhaps gather info, which probably looks basically like trying to recall if it's like Adele trying to recall if they've learned of this in their upbringing in any sense.
Okay. I don't think we need to roll here. I think you know that when House Phosphorus vanished, their location was here in this particular area of the city. At one point, they were a lower house, and then they rose to some immensity and then kind of vanished. So they're likely somewhere nearby in the sector. I think it's also worth saying we kind of talked about it a little bit briefly last time that this sector of the city not only is a hotspot for like revolution activities, but also is kind of run by a bunch of smaller houses and then has incorporated into a lot of its architecture and civic planning, a lot of green spaces. So there are a lot of gardens in this area.
Okay, let's see. I pretty much it's like relay it's like that it's like all that revelation to the rest of the group along with adding it's like given the greenery here, it's like well, it's like I think we can discern that it's like this manor is likely here in this very district, although it's like ascertaining exactly which one might be a little bit difficult considering the it's like considerable amount of greenery it's like this district is known for.
And I mean that so you're thinking that maybe we want to kind of look around here and see if anything kind of matches the drawing, I guess.
I think Adele's basically reflecting on this. It's like think a little bit more deeply and go, actually, no, I might be wrong on this. It's like I seem to recall through it's like studying the history of my house. This it's like House Phosphorus used to be it's like especially prominent, which actually it's like should mean we should be finding it's like the most conspicuous it's like manor in this district. and see. And if it's not, and if it's like by some odds, it's not that particular house. It shouldn't be. It's like the actual manor we're looking for shouldn't be too far. It's like away.
How
But
recently did House Phosphorus vanish? Was it in our lifetimes? Was it in the last few years?
How old are all of you, roughly?
For me, I was thinking like older teenager myself, but that's flexible
Yeah,
if people
I know
were
the
thinking
same
other
thing.
stuff.
Same.
So I think House Phosphorus disappeared perhaps a few years before you were all born.
And
Or some.
Sarah,
Mm.
kind of just looking at the image and everything like that more, and is like, I don't really know much about this. It's not like my family talks about this or anything. So, I mean, you're saying that they're prominent enough. Uh, what about them was I guess why did your family know them and everything? What what about them I guess makes them still memorable? I mean, it's been a while.
And it's like Adele kind of thinks back for a bit, and let's see. It's like before it's like and it's like a couple seconds pass before they seem to be dredging something. It's like from the depths of their memories. Consultation. I seem to recall, at the very least for my house. It's like they were it's like very it's like they at least dealt with the ones that the members that were prominent for, how do I put it? Providing advisors. Does that make sense? Essentially, it's like to it's like I seem to recall diplomats, advisories, it's like consul, it's like those that would basically provide directions, instruction. It's like essentially if you had an idea or a question, it's like they were the ones that had the second, the third, and the fourth opinion. At least that was how my house engaged with them. I can't necessarily speak for the rest of their connections prior to their downfall. With that said, they were particularly known for providing some revolutionary insights.
I mean, all that sounds pretty useful information at least. And you probably can ask Oda or something more on that too.
That's the problem. It's like I don't mean to interrupt, but it's like I haven't seen her all day. And when I inquired to her whereabouts, I was told that she was meeting with Regalia.
I don't understand why Oda would be meeting with Regalia. I mean, that seems unusual. I don't think I've ever heard of them actually interacting much. Now, that being said, I mean, I could be completely just out of the loop on that one too. Um, aside from that little detail, which I think we definitely want to find out more about, Violet, uh, have you found anything interesting in your day today that we should be looking into? I know that Rose is doing good, but did Rose give you anything, or did you find anything lingering around that might give us some clues too? I mean,
I'm trying to remember on my end from previous session if there is anything worth noting.
I know you had a talk with that
That
one
thing on the
Baroness
other end of the
thingy.
mirror, yeah, the
Yeah.
Baroness, yeah, that was the big thing. I don't think they said where they were from or like where what their plans were. We just kind of like spoke for a little bit. Um, I might still have the mirror, do I? That I used to speak with the Baroness?
It was the mirror that was part of Rose's vanity. So I don't know if it's small enough to carry, but it's certainly something you could access.
Yeah, I might refer the group back to that. I mean, I'll just relay to everyone the situation with the Baroness, who everyone who doesn't already know, and maybe check out the mirror as kind of the next step if we're stumped for things that we could go do.
Do we know when this meeting between Odell and Regalia was going to happen, or where?
No, I wasn't. It's like, no, it's like I wasn't told it's like where they could be found. But it's like the fact that I haven't seen Oda all day it's like implies to me at least that it's like that they would be it's like meeting tonight if they haven't already.
Well, and I can say at least before I kind of came here and before I was talking with Violet earlier tonight, Regalia hadn't left our place. At least she was still there with plenty of people waiting in line to speak with her. So I'm assuming she, if they were to be meeting anytime soon, from within that time frame, I don't think they would have gone too extremely far. Now, that still doesn't necessarily narrow things down. I mean, we're not really familiar with this part of it, well, this area, considering we're kind of just traveling on by here with the parade, but I mean, I can't imagine it being like a gigantic space for us to look even still.
But you are familiar with Regalia, it's like with where Regalia is staying tonight?
I mean, yeah, I would at least where she says she would be. That doesn't mean that I verified it or been in her room or anything or been in the area. I mean, I've been kind of off doing my own thing, so it's not like I made sure that where she said she was going to be, she's there. I mean, I don't actively try to get in her way when she's doing things, so she might be there.
I've I'm sorry, Sarah, but I've had some very recent experience with not trusting what one's direct family might be up to.
What
We
do you mean
might
by
want
that?
to investigate. I think I think Frida is I think Frida gestures towards the drawing. I think she's intimate. She's conveyed enough information previously about what happened with Ian, that she's talking about her father.
And
I think I know it might be painful to consider, but I think we need to keep tabs on what Regalia is doing. She seems connected to a lot of things we can't explain through other means.
I mean, I could try keeping more of an eye on her. Not tonight, I don't think, just because I'm pretty sure at this point she's kind of escaped into wherever she is, if we're to believe that Oda and her are meeting. But I mean, it wouldn't be. You could tell she's hesitating for a little bit, and it's like it shouldn't be too difficult to like follow her and just keep tabs on her. Yeah, I could do that.
In that case, I think I want to propose. Violet, did you want to further investigate the slave baroness?
I mean, yes. Yeah, I think the Baroness is the probably next person we need to look into.
Well, and you mentioned that they're in a mirror, and I think we went through a mirror last time. So, I mean, what's to say that that mirror isn't our next little companion for getting us into the mirror realm? We're going to call it the mirror realm. I don't know what it is.
Right.
In that case, I think it might be good for you and Frida to head back to Rose's tent. To talk with this Baroness again. And Sarah, I know you have trouble locating regalia, so to speak, but do you think you'd still be able to try if I were to ask of it tonight?
I mean, Regalia has got some, I feel like she definitely seems like a creature of habit of sorts when it comes to where she's going and who she's with. So I feel like I could probably figure it out.
Because I have a bit, I have a very bad, feeling, regarding, House Ignis that I, need to investigate further before, I can, join. So if does anybody have any objections to, the idea that Violet and Frida will, go and investigate the Baroness. Sarah will take me to, further investigate regalia, and and we will reconvene, and we will try to meet up with you guys back at perhaps Rose's tent if you guys aren't done beforehand. Otherwise we can perhaps reconvene back at the skybox. Are there any objections to this plot?
That works for me.
If one set of the other gets into trouble, what's our fallback plan for coming to their aid?
I think the biggest thing here is maybe we want to kind of give ourselves a time limit. Sort of like if we don't hear from another group or see another group within a certain time, I mean, I know that it might constrain us all on our investigation, but we should probably make it a thing where at a certain time we cut things off and we have to meet where the other we're at a certain location. In this case, it sounds like the plan is to meet back up with you guys at Rose's mirror anyway. So I would say if me and Adele take more than 30 minutes to join you guys at the mirror, or maybe 30 minutes is too short, I don't know, but then you can assume that something happened to us and everything. Vice versa, if we come meeting you guys at the mirror and your guys aren't there, I would say then it's fairly safe to say that something happened with the mirror and it probably went and just sucked you all in. I don't know.
Out of character, since we are in a futuristic mega city, do we have something like cell phones to communicate?
Yeah, we've established that before.
Oh, we did.
Some kind of communication devices.
You know what? Sure, we'll make it even easier then. Well, we'll make sure to text each other every 10 minutes. How about that?
Yes, I was about to suggest that, but you were so enthusiastic in your everything. It felt rude to interrupt, but in any case, it's perhaps you shouldn't waste any more time.
I mean, what can I say? I do love a good mystery novel, and I may have gotten a little carried away.
So it sounds to me like we're doing 2 seek answer missions, sort of.
See which one of them bears fruit faster.
Yeah, see what happens. Play to find out. Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Is that what everybody was thinking? Just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Seek answers is what we're aiming for here.
Yeah, 1 or 2 seek answer missions, depending on whether or not they possibly converge.
Okay.
In some way.
All right. Let's make a single engagement roll and use that for both of them, I think. So I opened it up on the clocks and rules tab. We start with 1 dice for every mission, and then +1 for each of these. Is the mission particularly heroic or noble?
At the moment, I would say no, just because we don't yet know if we're even getting or going and doing things. We're right now just
Kind of investigatory.
inquiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the mission follow up on your investigation? Yes.
Yes. I think that's a
100%.
definite yes.
Does the mission determine the fate of a friend?
You can tell
I-
us that, Danny.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Maybe.
feel like yes, a little bit in a way, in the sense that one, I like me and Adela are investigating on, and we're friends. We're investigating on Regalia and Odo, and kind of potentially any fate connected with our families in this matter.
I was about to just say, I think you could just say at least involves Rose.
Yeah. Okay. So we're at 3. Minus, oh, well, all right. Before I jump to the negatives, we do have under redemption, is this mission particularly noble or heroic? Which is like the same one we just answered, but it's like, I guess, double?
If you really wanted to double dip, but unfortunately, that's still a net 0.
Okay.
Oh yeah, this one is just, oh, if we do answer yes, we clear our stress.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. All right, that's how it works. All right, again, I'm not sure how to answer this. You'll have to help me out with what your worst parts are. Does the mission reflect your worst parts?
I would say no, because I think we're actively being preemptive of any potential problems, and we're not really showing anything kind of negative. I feel we're just concerned.
Are you acting rashly or on little information?
Yeah, I feel like yes.
Right. That might be on me. Are mundane troubles getting in the way?
I mean, would I feel like potentially, depending on how things play out with with the Oda and Regalia tidbit, because I mean, potentially that's going to get in the way of Adele and Sarah if this is supposed to possibly converge.
I think we'll skip over that because there's nothing super pressing that anybody's like, you need to come do this now or something like that. So you have free reign at the moment. So I think we'll run with 2 dice.
Yeah, sounds good, I think.
Sure.
Five. So on a 5, mixed result, a risky position. Take steps right now to avoid disaster. Excellent. And on that note, we will take a 10-minute break. See you in 10. how does the skybox work when you leave it? Does it deposit you wherever you entered it, or does it have like, I don't know, a will of its own? It places you where it thinks it needs you to be.
I feel like it could either go like the thing of like it placing us where we need to be, or potentially even where we feel we need to be. Like depending on things, I could see kind of almost, since it opens, it kind of molds itself towards like our group's kind of emotions and dynamic and all. I wouldn't be surprised if it also feeds off of that in how it kind of dispenses us, so to speak. And your hideout has more of a free will than you're realizing.
I think that might be narratively useful.
Yeah.
Maybe unlike a traditional video game skybox, it's not entirely, you don't get a clear bird's eye view of the real world. You think you know where you're coming back into the real world, but you're dealing with liminal spaces. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could also see it kind of being somewhat disorienting for us, because it'll be like, I know I entered in at this location, but and I feel like it probably in season 1 and all, it was when it was our first experience of coming out and being like, wait a second, this is not where I entered in.
Like this skybox is like, you may not have fully signed up for being a magical girl yet, but we're gonna throw you into the middle of danger, so sink or swim.
Sometimes it be what it be.
We were just talking, David, about the skybox depositing you all where it thinks you need to go, or where you think you need to go.
Sure.
And how that might be narratively useful.
Sure. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. Did you have something?
Well, no, I was just thinking there's a meme that Clarice, what you said was reminding me of. If anyone has ever seen Madoka Magica, there's a meme of one of the characters pulling a shotgun out of a locker, and it says the thug life. I didn't choose the thug life.
Yes.
The thug
Oh
life.
yeah, Homura.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what it reminded me of.
That always threw me off the first time I watched it. I'm like, why is her like, she just like, the other one like manifests rifles and whatnot, like that's cool, and this one just like pulls them out of nowhere, but they're like the real thing. It was very confusing until the end.
I feel like that shares energy with saying this. She casually dropped a large rock.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I think as our cast of magical girls put down Lepus, and he kind of waves with his little paw goodbye, as if to say good luck. You all go through the still waters of like the entry exit point, and let me go to the names so I don't forget them. Frida and Violet, you find yourselves in the wherever the pageant has set itself up, so where all of the tents are. And Sarah and Adele, you find yourselves at the edge of a large, well-manicured garden. It looks like the entry to a hedge maze. There's like a large gate, and there is a car there. At the fairgrounds, where the pageant has set up, you see before you Violet and Frida, not too far away, where the major houses or what have you keep their tents. Security is a little tighter here. You can see some patrolling through. That Rose is pacing back and forth nervously in front of her tent. Meanwhile, at the hedge maze, the car holds the insignia of House Ignis. And coming out of this large, ornate car, this like limo situation, comes Regalia with a number of guards, and sort of situated sort of forcibly between the guards, I think there's probably 4 or so of them, is Oda, and they're making their way into the hedge maze. So where would you like to start?
Well, we have a choice between the hedge maze and the mirror with the Baroness, don't we?
I would say, I think I'm very curious to have it start off with what we know is connected with the mirror realm, instead in this case, Frida and Violet's kind of side of things right now.
Okay, we'll start there, and we'll try to bounce back and forth, like scene by scene, I guess. All right, so yeah, so Violet and Frida. Rose is pacing nervously in the front of her tent, and she seems to be looking for somebody. She's kind of wringing her hands. And when the guards pass by, she kind of waves them on and continues to look out.
I incline my head to Rose and say, "She's your sister."
Right. I'll put on my most friendly face and in kind of like an almost forced, over-exaggerated way that the audience would read as kind of like a comic relief moment. I'll sort of start waving at her. Rose, hi! What's going on with you? And I'm trying way too hard to act like I'm relaxed and everything is comfortable.
Okay, so it definitely comes across clearly as sort of forced.
To the audience, it does. It's up
Okay.
to you to decide if Rose sees it that way.
Okay. She's like, "Oh, Violet, hi. How are you?" And she kind of looks over your shoulder and then looks back at you.
Just great. Just enjoying the fair. Never been better. Ha ha ha. And I'm doing the awkward, like, scratching behind my head thing.
She's like, "Oh, yes, me too. Enjoying every moment of it." And she kind of backs up against her tent and then like makes sure that the tent drapes are closed behind her.
Say, never did know we had a hedge maze. Did you know we had one of those? That's crazy. What are the odds?
I knew that there were lots of gardens around here, but I didn't know there was a hedge maze nearby either.
Must be a new thing. And then we both go at the same time,
Yeah.
and kind of like calm down in unison. And that's house Icarus, Hickama, what are they?
The hedge maze?
I'm gesticulating in the general direction. You said there were all these people coming out with like the regalia, right?
Well, we're in 2 completely different places, aren't we?
Yeah, sorry about that. I confused you. It's my fault.
Oh no, okay.
Like
Sorry,
you and me are nowhere near Adele and Sarah in the hedge maze. But we might have gotten a text about them.
Okay. Okay, so they're not even within eyesight of each other. Okay, so
Yeah.
okay, quick retcon. So here's what I'll do. I'll say, so what are you doing over here? I imagine that the hedge maze is the cool, neat thing that everyone's looking for, looking to get lost in.
Okay. I'm trying to think if this might be a good point for an action roll to try to maybe get her to open up.
Sure. Yeah, I think that sounds reasonable.
Okay. What action here do you think best represents what you're doing?
Great question. Let me see here. Playbooks. Okay. I'm not happy about it. Well, express or empathize probably.
I think express makes sense if you're trying to get her to open up.
Okay, we'll do express. So that's 1 die to start with, right?
Correct. And we are at a risky position to start.
Okay.
Frida is doing her best to perform complete indifference. Take a die. I'll take a stress.
Okay, sure.
Cool cat. Oh, you hang out with such cool people, Violet.
Yeah, like totally. Okay, so that gives me 2. Okay, that gives me a 3/4 chance of a 4+. I'm willing to take those odds. We'll just roll a 2d6 and see what we get.
Okay, I think it's standard effect.
6.
Nice. All right, good. She says, Violet, this is going to sound odd, but you don't happen to... I met somebody recently. She reminded me of you in a weird way. So maybe, I don't know, you hang out with such cool people. I don't know how to describe her other than she's very bright and beautiful. I need to get a hold of her really quickly, and I don't know how. Something's happened.
Whoa, boy. Who? I mean, I don't know, Rose. You're more linked into the whole networking side of things than I am. I just stand by a torch and look serious. I mean, well, I don't know if there's much I could really do for that kind of thing. We could talk about in your tent. Is it cold out here to you? It's freezing to me.
That's the thing. The tent's not a safe place to go right now.
What?
Yeah.
Frida, you should see this.
Yeah. Rose, if you wanted to get a hold of that bright character, what would you tell her? What's going on with the tent?
I would say that the people she wanted me to tell her about, if they reached out again, well, they did. And there's a, I don't know how to describe this without it sounding crazy, but there's a way to get to them inside my tent right now.
Wait, you mean like a secret entrance or like a tunnel or...
Yeah.
May I see it?
I
There's 3 of us at once. What's the worst that could happen?
Gulp. She opens the tent. She's like, "Don't be careful." They I think she grabs hold of Violet, like, I don't know, by the wrist or something, and like looks Violet in the eyes. It's just, be careful.
Why do I need to be careful?
Because I don't. And then I think she kind of just clams up, and then I don't know. I think she just takes a few steps away, and like kind of just turns her head.
So she's not willing to come into the tent with us.
She does not appear to be known.
Ooh. I guess I will lift the flap of the tent and gesture meaningfully to Violet.
I do sort of a giggly everything just fine wave to Rose, and as I kind of turn once I'm fully faced away and facing towards Frida in the tent, my face just snaps into business time, let's go. And I stalk straight into the tent.
You see that the mirror has done this thing where it's like imploded and exploded simultaneously, so that there's fragments kind of floating in the air, like twisting very slowly, glittering, catching like the light in here. And the the vanity has sort of reshaped itself into like a set of stairs up into the mirror, and you can see a passage in and through. And I think that would be I'll say that when you look through the mirror, you can see what looks like a dark, tangled maze of plants, beautiful flowers and bushes and whatnot. And that might be a good place to swap over to the other group. All right. So, Sarah and Adele. Skybox has deposited you before a hedge maze, and you can see this scene begin to play out with Regalia, House Ignis guards, and Oda, who seems to be going with them, but is certainly nested in among the guards, making their way through like a large ornate wrought iron gate and deeper into this hedge maze.
For starters, the kind of realization of what they're about to do here, Sarah's kind of visibly kind of just like kind of almost trying to console herself, kind of like fidgetingly, like kind of rubbing like her thumb, her like her right thumb on her left hand, the back of her left hand, kind of thing for a bit, and before kind of just kind of steadily moving to kind of hide behind whatever is the nearest but biggest kind of feature to kind of, at this point, she doesn't think that they want to get noticed or anything while they are out investigating here, because chances are things won't go well if they just say, "Hey, we're here, by the way." And so Sarah kind of goes there and then just kind of whispers to Adele, it's like, so we know where they are, and we're seeing what I think is probably the picture that Ian like made and everything. So I don't really like how that's all kind of mixing together. I don't think we want to get outright noticed. Do you want to do we want to kind of take a little detour so that they don't notice us as we're kind of following them?
Adele's usually not one for excessive sarcasm. In this case, they're kind of like, it's like, that might be a better idea than my initial thought of, going right out in the open and performing for them.
And at this, Sarah just kind of like lightly kind of chuckles, but like has like puts her like hand to her face and her mouth and everything to really kind of stifle it. And it's like, I didn't say you're that, but that you're right. That did sound silly.
Adele just kind of like puts her hand on top of hers and just, I'm joking, but it's like, but it occurs to me that it's like I'm being rather selfish. It's like having you take me here. It's like, I understand if you're too scared to go through with this.
Oh no. It's just, this is gonna be interesting. What the going into like the other realm and everything, like you're dealing with the creatures and different things like that, but here we're going to be dealing with like just kind of looks over the little thing just to kind of get an eye of like where Regalia and the guards and everything are. And it's like, we're dealing with guards here, and I don't know, it's just there's something different about dealing with actual guards and kind of watching us and the chance of getting caught. I mean, sure, we danced right through the mirror people and everything, but I don't know why, but this just feels different. I don't know how. I mean, it's going to be interesting trying to just follow them.
I understand. It's like always more scared of Oda than it's like the Abyss every day of my life. But that aside, it's like you suggested a detour earlier. Do you know of where it is?
Well, it looks like they're going to be headed towards the hedge and everything there, or like into that maze. Maybe we can find a way to kind of like skate along the edge of the maze in a way where we can kind of follow close enough behind, but not give ourselves away. I mean, I'm assuming that this hedge is kind of fairly tall. So yeah, I would say maybe we just kind of try to, I don't know, play by the thing of like be behind one corner, and as they go around another corner, we kind of follow along, but slowly, so we keep it still a certain amount of distance so that they don't like hear us like walking or anything. I don't know if the guards are going to end up putting post anywhere, but I don't know any other way to kind of follow somebody into a hedge maze. There's kind of a single point of entry usually, and I mean we could go into through the exit, but that feels like it's just asking us to kind of meet in the middle there and kind of accidentally kind of clash.
So while Sarah and Adele are going back and forth, they make it to the wrought iron gates and they open them up, and Regalia turns to Odell and says, "I don't suspect you'll be any trouble." And Odell nods. And so then Regalia gestures, and the guards kind of station themselves at the entrance, and Regalia and Odell go deeper and kind of go deep and out of sight.
Well, time for just to make a decision. Shall we go, or
It's like without a word, Adele literally just it's like sort of it's like grabs you by it's like the wrist and immediately it's like already starts pulling you along. It's like towards it's like the gate.
okay, well, because we're going. And then just immediately just like puts her hand to her mouth for a moment, takes a deep breath in, and then is like, all serious, like she is ready to just go full on ninja here. No one's gonna hear me, no one sees me.
So does it seem like this is like the front gate is like the only it's like real point of entry, or does there seem to be it's like, or is there anything that I might be able to discern as basically being a vulnerable point of entry?
So I think the risk here is, I think there's two avenues of approach. One is you go and deal with the guards one way or another to try to get past them, or you try to sneak into the hedge maze, kind of force your way probably through the hedge at a weak point, a thin point, and then the risk will be getting lost in the hedge maze. Guards or hedge maze.
So I guess my question with the guards part is, do these guards look like they are just like kind of almost like bouncers or anything, or do they look like they have like something that they can smack us with if we try to like remove them from the equation, or like what kind of guards are we talking about, I guess, is the bigger question.
I think it's telling that because in another part of the city, they'd probably just have like souped up tasers to knock people out. But here, since like, revolts and whatnot are a known thing, they have weapons that they could like injure and subdue people with.
Okay, so they might have batons and other stuff. Okay.
I think you see like they have pistols strapped to their waists in addition to batons.
And Sarah just kind of whispering to Adele, like, I think we absolutely do not want to get their attention in any shape or form. I would say I might as well follow them into the hedge and just hope that no guard sees us as we kind of go in there, because I don't think it'll be in our best interest if they see us in any shape or form.
And here I thought you were it's like excited for the it's like attention. It's like said jokingly before Adele just kind of like it's like pulls it's like them both it's like into the hedge maze.
Okay. Yeah, so let's make that risky roll. I think it's standard effect. You'll be able to follow them being Regalia and Oda.
I would assume that Adele, you are leading in this situation, as I feel like Sarah would be more or less trying to like watch your guys' backs kind of thing to ensure that no guard just suddenly magically sees them as they're doing this.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see. So I kind of imagine basically this looks like it's like Adele basically sort of pulls them both into it's like the hedge maze. And actually, does this? I guess it's a little. It's like it would be hard to tell from their vantage point and everything. But based on like what they saw from Ian's drawing, is there anything in particular that looks like that looks familiar between where they are and Ian's drawing of the garden?
I think here at the edge, like there are signs that like there's heraldry of House Phosphorus, but you don't see the mansion yet. You expect that that's probably deeper in.
Okay. So there actually are, it's like, so there actually is symbolism here physically matching Ian's drawing. It's like of House Phosphorus.
Yeah, the insignias.
Okay. So basically, I kind of, it's like, so I imagine Adele basically like taking, it's like still holding on to, it's like Sarah, it's like by the wrist and everything, kind of, it's like suddenly, it's like pulls him over. It's like, kind of goes, it's like, let's see, it's like, well, it's like, do you feel light on your feet, or it's like, would you rather trust me on this?
I mean, I feel pretty light on my feet. If there's one thing in our adventures is I do feel pretty confident that I can kind of at least not get noticed. But I guess it depends. What are you trying? Are you just saying like, are you going to lead? Is that what you're kind of saying?
Of course.
Well, I'd say you lead, since I think the bigger worry of being noticed is Oda, and I feel like if there's anyone who's going to know how Oda is, you'd be the best one at that.
From where we are we able to just like perceive like sounds of Regalia and Oda, and it's like their respective bodyguards basically like going through it's like traveling through it's like garden or anything like that?
Yeah, so the guards have been left behind at the entrance, and Regalia and Oda are making their way through the hedge maze, presumably to the mansion. You can hear them, and so that's what the action roll is going to be for, is whether or not you can follow them and not get lost.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. I think it's like Adele being Adele is naturally going to be, it's like using flow for this. Let's
Makes sense.
see. It's probably just a 1 die, I'm guessing.
At the moment, yep.
Okay.
I would definitely assist you.
And you also have links don't forget if you want to spend them. You have those in store.
Yeah, I would assist you in this situation because I'm actively trying to listen to it too and make sure we don't get lost while actively perceiving like our surroundings as is.
Yeah, so Adele is basically going to be sort of, it's like, I guess, trying to perceive based off the sounds that it's like hearing. It's like they're basically trying to identify like, oh, it's like it's like direction distance that it's like it's like that basically their target NPCs are. It's like ad and everything. And it's like that along with like sort of, I guess, mentally trying to compare it to like what they remember of Ian's it's like drawing of the garden, because I kind of imagine that like while it's not like, oh, a perfect bird's eye view, Ian probably did a pretty good rendition. It's like of like it's like some of the pertinent parts of it's like hedge maze and everything, like just enough to perhaps get an idea if like one were to get enough of their bearings as to where they are, maybe work out from that drawing.
Okay.
Let's see.
You have 2 dice at the moment.
Okay.
I take a stress for that assist, right? 2?
Just one.
One.
Yeah, 1 to assist somebody else.
Looks like a 4.
Okay. So I think what this looks like is you're able to follow them, and you make it. By the time you make it, you follow them, it takes you a while because you're moving through the parts of the maze that aren't meant to be traversed, so that you can stay hidden. And by the time you make it to like the area that opens up around the mansion, Regalia and Oda are just entering in through the doors. But you've made it there to the mansion. So let's swap back over to Violet and Frida.
This looks like an invitation for your sister. What a surprise if someone had. Frida raises an eyebrow at Violet and says, "How well can you impersonate your sister?"
Well, we are twins, so almost perfectly.
So, do you want to answer on behalf of Rose, or do we go gate crashing?
I think a haunted look crosses over my face. Um, I it's probably safest if I answer for Rose, isn't it?
It depends. I'll be behind you though.
Okay,
You won't be going in there alone.
let's do it then. Okay.
So stepping in, like up the stairs that the vanity had turned into and in through the mirror, you find yourselves in what looks like a dark forest with like large gnarled trees twisting up around you, forming a large woven canopy. And nested in and around them are like large exotic flowers. And looking at any of it for too long, it's like it's there, but not. It's like it's kind of moving in almost of a reflection, as if it was like a glimpse through a mirror or some kind of glass. They're there, but they kind of shift in almost an illusory fashion. And the air is just filled with this overwhelming floral scent. And the path lies before you. Traveling down it, you see what look like shadowy humanoid shapes in there among the trees and the overgrown flowers. They're sort of just don't move, they're just present in elegant postures and I guess just postures. Is there anything you do as you make your way through?
I am staying 5 to 10 meters behind Violet, and I'm not going to transcend yet, but I am pretending that I have snuck into the tent after Rose. I'm pretending to not be associated with Rose and just be completely hapless.
Sure. I'm I'm taking note of everything, but I'm not going to interact with any of it yet.
So traveling down for a ways, the path just kind of leads on. It's a little windy. It's as if it's part of a garden that's meant to be traveled, where there's places to stop and to enjoy the view, even though the view is just always consistent. This kind of oppressive canopy of tangled branches and these overgrown, very odoriferous flowers. And eventually you find your way to a large opening where there are like garden stones set out, and there's topiary that is in geometric shapes, nothing particularly crazy, but just elegant, sweeping organic shapes. And there in the center is a large chair, and around it are a whole number of mirrors. And sitting there in the chair, this sort of almost a throne, is what Violet would recognize as the same visage that she saw in the mirror previously. It appears to be the Baroness in this shadowy mirror form. And she's just kind of casually there, relaxed, looking through this large mirror in front of her that light seems to be pouring out of, appearing to wait.
Sort of like waiting for me to reveal myself and to introduce myself, kind of a thing.
She just seems to be kind of patiently waiting there, looking into this mirror that the light is coming out of, as if expecting something. If you'd like to make like an action roll or something to try to gather information, that seems reasonable.
Yeah, let's do analyze.
Okay.
If you feel like that's a reasonable one. So that's 1 die by default, and can I push myself or something along those lines here?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I
is
think
that 1 or
this-
2 stress?
That's 2 stress if you push yourself.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. So that'll get me up to 2
I think
dice.
it's risky standard. The risk
Okay.
here you might be noticed.
That's fine. Okay. So 2 dice. 5.
Okay. So let's I guess what question are you going to ask? So we're using this as an action roll for gather information.
Yeah. Let me look at my list here. What is most dangerous here?
I think it's 2 things. I think you see here the Baroness as she's sitting there, she's idly playing with what looks like a coiled up whip with like thorns on it.
Mhm.
And then they're also nested along the trees, along the outside of this opening are these shadowy shapes. And the ones here seem a little more monstrous in their visage. They look like dryads in some kind of war form, like ready to leap to the aid of their mistress.
War form dryads. That's a first.
She I think it's also fair to like give you what she's here for. And she says, "Oh, anytime now. I don't have all day. So many things to do, so many people to save." And then like you can see, I think from this angle, she continues to peer through this mirror. You can see through it. And on the other side is another garden. It looks like a kind of a private courtyard, and it looks like a large ornate building on the other side, probably a mansion.
Mhm.
And there you can see stepping out of a set of doors are Oda and Regalia, and they go to meet this figure. Again, this is on the other side of the mirror in the courtyard. This figure who, when you look at them, you can't get a clear visage of them. So I think to Violet, this calls to mind the visitor when she was getting her photographs taken.
Got it.
Is there anything you would like to do, Frida, or is this a good time to jump back to the other group?
Sure.
I think jumping back is fine.
Okay. All right. So Adele and Sarah, you're standing at the edge of this hedge maze where there's a large clearing where this mansion is.
I have curiosity. There doesn't appear to be any guards and at this point, and I would assume because they're on the other side of the hedge.
Right. Yeah, you don't see any guards here.
And we don't see, from our current vantage point, it doesn't look like we can see Oda or Regalia, and by and large, this open space of sorts doesn't look like they would probably have a vantage point to see us either.
Right. So right as you had made it to the edge, Regalia and Oda were going through the doors and they closed them behind them. So you have the mansion and they kind of went through the doors already. And you have the space between you and the mansion, so the clearing. That's kind of the situation you find yourselves in. You could certainly go in and look through windows, do like a perimeter, or just kind of go straight in, however you want to approach it.
And at this, almost like following the same kind of thing of like like with how Adele's been doing things, just Sarah just grabs Adele's like hand and it's like, well, we're already behind. Let's go, and just like starts dashing across towards so that to get closer to the area, but like enough to like kind of so to kind of close the gap. And anytime that she sees that there is a chance that like for a like window or something to have a vantage point to see them, that's when she'll kind of stop and kind of slow down and then kind of start going behind something again. But like she's gonna try and close the gap and kind of rush past this area to get closer to. Right now, the door that they went into.
I imagine like as you're trying to basically it's like quickly but at the same time still furtively make it to the door, Adele just sees it's like Oda basically disappear behind. It's like the manor doors as they close, just sort of single-mindedly just like shit, I gotta catch up, and just it's like at some point it's like passes it's like Sarah and heading directly towards the manor door.
Yeah, I think the mansion has massive windows. So as you're booking it towards the front door, you can see Regalia and Oda making their way deeper into the mansion itself before they like pass through another set of doors that is like framed by another set of large windows to some interior space. But you make your way up to the door. Do you just burst in? What do you do?
Yeah, pretty much just burst in.
Yeah.
And at this, as you bust the door open and everything, I guess you could say, Sarah's just like, you don't need to like outright an answer. We could just like quietly open the door.
It's like discretion is not my strong suit at this it's like point in time. Just sort of like grabs it's like Sarah and kind of pulls her along with them.
So the door slams open. You're immediately like swept up with this strong smell of flowers. And there is this strange preservative smell to it as well. I think, Sarah, you recognize this as the sort of perfume that Regalia is always wearing, but this time this chemical component is much stronger. I think so. Stumbling in here all of a sudden with all of this smell, you're kind of swept up, and there's this sudden surge of emotion that's building on what's already there. I think this is a complication or consequence. So you're free to resist this, or you can even make an action roll to try to resist this instead.
And this is towards me?
This is, I think, towards both of you. You
Okay.
rush in here all of a sudden, and there's some kind of distillation process that's going on here that's creating these smells. As you enter, you can see that where there should be furniture has like all of these stills and these advanced chemistry laboratory components. And you can see these large ornate flowers as part of these contraptions that are being distilled down and liquefied and brought into solution. And it kind of takes up a lot of this interior mansion space.
Okay, so I would definitely try to resist the consequence of whatever this is kind of, I guess, overwhelming my senses, you say?
Yeah, and what it's doing is it's this weird chemical reaction that's messing with your biology and like enhancing, like building on the emotions that you have at the moment. Lizard brain stuff.
Yeah, it's like going to try to resist as Adele immediately just instinctively like tries to it's like cover like their it's like brings her it's like hands up to it's like cover their it's like nose and mouth.
There's two ways you could go about it. You can either just do a resistance roll, or you can make an action roll to see.
Yeah, I suppose this is like I think I will do a resistance roll.
Okay.
It's like unless like Sarah in particular is like doing any particular action, perhaps.
When it comes to this, I know I'm thinking for her, the way she would resist it is more interpersonal, like dealing with the whatever this kind of flood of emotions and things that are kind of coming in. So it'd definitely be more of a resistance than a action.
Okay. So let's see here. For resistance rolls, this isn't violence or fear. I think this is probably closest to panic, because I imagine that's what is that what you're feeling the closest to at the moment? Sense of urgency.
I can see that, yeah.
All right, so I think
and you said it's going off of our emotion?
Yeah.
So
I think stars makes the most sense here.
Yeah, and for me, it would be a different thing than Adele, because actually, panic is not the main emotion that is going on in my character's mind still.
Oh, okay. What is it? What is it? Sarah's
A sense of actual dread and fear of the future at the moment.
okay, so for you it's sun, and for Adele it's stars.
5.
Okay, just 1 stress for you.
And let's see here. And so with this, I just roll a single dice, right?
Yep.
Okay. Did I also get a 5?
Nice. So you
Yeah,
only
okay,
1
wow.
stress. Yeah. So you can feel this like surge as like this smell just kind of bombards you, but you manage to resist the effects before they set in. And this is what you see before you. Is kind of how I already described it. You also see further down the hallway, there's another set of doors, the ones that you saw Regalia and Oda enter, and you can see large windows framing it that appear to go into a courtyard. What do you do?
First thing is they're gonna say, as they're kind of like, I guess, making their way towards the courtyard. Would you say is what Adele and Sarah would be probably doing for starters?
Oh, Adele is going to go in the direction of the doors that they saw Oda and Regalia go through.
Okay. Yeah, I would say on the way there though, just because out of curiosity and thought here, Sarah's just gonna be like, so what do you think is going on with this mirror realm of sorts anyway? Like, what is it like? What's its goal? And more importantly, what do you feel like Oda and Regalia have it to do with it? I mean, I already can't really put it out of the question that they're related with whatever this is. This all just feels so problematic.
I'll confess your ability to consider deeper questions right now is astounding me, considering it's like the main question going through my head is, does Regalia really live like this?
Oh, what do you mean by live like this? Like, you talking about like the perfumes and such?
Yes, the gestures to this room that they're standing in with all the perfumes and everything. Is this really her normal living conditions?
I mean, she has to always smell and look a certain way. Got to keep up the image, I guess. So I mean, I can't say that this is out of the norm, to say the least. But I can say I've never been overwhelmed by the smell quite like this. So this is extra concentrated regalia, I would say.
To each their own, I suppose. But it's like in regards to your other questions, I think we're more keen to finding answers to those if we continue following them.
Okay, well then let's just follow and see where this takes us, I guess. Have you heard anything from Frida or Violet? Anything at all? I would check.
You have a text message on your phone, Adele.
It's like Adele just kind of probably the text probably came in around the time that they had just successfully gone through the hedge maze and everything, and probably noted a small vibration from their pocket, but it's hadn't thought to check at the time. It's remembers, it's oh right, looks at their phone, and it's the mirror's open. What in the world does wait, what in the world? And it's pauses for a moment. It's yes, it's she did. It's yes, actually she did say something. It's it sounds like they're going into a mirror, which it's considering our situation right now, at least it's I have it's at least considering the current situation, we do have some more pressing matters to attend to if they're not in immediate need of help.
Yeah, but wait, if they went into the mirror by themselves, isn't that concerning in its own right? No, they know it better than to overextend. If they need to, I'm pretty sure they can run away. Let's just keep going. But if you hear any other text, double check it really quick, because if they're going into the mirror realm, but just the two of them, that concerns me. I mean,
Adele's already grabbing her by grabbing her wrist again, and already sort of is leading her along, just they know how to take care of themselves. It's we on the other hand are dialing a little too much, I think.
Do the two of you continue on your rampage through busting open doors and into the courtyard, or do you have a different approach here?
Bust away. Because
I-
I would think after Adele's thing of just saying, "Hey, we're idling too much," I think Sarah's gonna just take that as okay. We're just busting through these doors. Consequences be darned at this point. Let's do this.
I think it depends on whether there's anything indicating that they are perhaps drawing it's like too much. It's like making too much noise or drawing too much attention. If not, then yes, continue busting down doors.
Okay, yeah. So as you get closer to the door, the set of doors into the courtyard, you can see that there's a large mirror in the middle of the courtyard, and you can see Oda and Regalia with this shadowy figure that you can't make out their vision standing there in front of the mirror. So think on that. Meanwhile, back in the Baroness's court, there was a consequence that I forgot to apply. And so I think what this looks like is as you're standing there and the Baroness says, "Oh, any time now," and you see Regalia and Oda step through into the courtyard on the other side of the mirror, she goes, "Oh, Rose, is that you? I had wondered how long it was going to take before you found your way here." You are also free to resist that, and we can take a step back.
I'll take it for now.
Okay. She says, "Please, it's been some time. Come join me." And she like gestures for you to come step and stand next to her throne.
I'll approach. It has been a while, hasn't it?
It has. It's so good for you to be here. I'm sure you'll find some kind of education in this. There has one that has been eluding me for some time. And my prey has finally come to ground.
Oh, well, congratulations. And I guess at this point I just kind of like stand next to her, uncomfortably, not really knowing where this is going exactly, other than that there is education involved.
Yeah. Just want to check in real quick with Frida.
I'm going to go with my first instinct here is I step back into the foliage and I just let the shadows sink into me and I try and soak up as much of the greenery around me as possible and just try and I am transcending because this is supernatural bullshit.
Yeah.
And I am trying to basically disguise myself as a denizen of this place.
Nice. All right, so that sounds like a goal to hide, essentially. It sounds like you're leveraging conceal here.
Yup.
Okay.
I feel obligated to ask for a poison promise before pushing myself.
Ooh. Does anybody have any thoughts? What a good poison promise might be.
I already had the father thread, so something connected to that potentially may have some fun.
That sounds like a great poison promise. We have the whole gang here. So too is Daddy.
I think I'm willing to accept that I'll accept that if you will find that useful. I don't know if you feel like it's too many irons, I can push myself.
I'm okay with it. It's up to you. If it's something that you're interested in, we can run with it.
Sure. Yeah, okay. I'll take it.
All right.
So it's 2 dice.
I think the risk here is that you grab the attention of these dryad shadow figures that are closest to you.
Yeah, that would be awkward because it's basically exactly what I don't want, but I got a 5.
So you successfully conceal yourself. That happens. And I think these figures move up to you and they say, "Good of you to join us again, sister." They say, "Come." Go ahead.
Do I get the impression that they recognize Bellatrix, or just that they're too close for comfort?
I think it's that they're too close for comfort, and then what they say next, which I think is, "Come, the Baroness will have need of us here shortly." And they step forward, as if expecting you to join them as well.
I will join them.
Okay. I think that's a great point for our 10 minute break. Anybody have preferences? All right, we'll do 5.
5's fine. Yeah.
Okay. See you in 5. It definitely looks like a dangerous dryad situation in that picture, for sure.
It's not going well for the protagonist.
All right. So the dryads and the hidden, concealed Bellatrix move forward. You can tell based on the stance of the dryads, they're getting ready to act on the Baroness's command. And Rose, you're standing there next to the Baroness, and she leans forward in her chair, eyes piercing through the mirror, very focused on the figures that came through the door. Meanwhile, on the other side of the mirror, on the other side of the door, we have Adele and Sarah. So now I think the situation's a little more clear, and you can see kind of what's going on inside the courtyard. Do you bust in the door, or do you have a different approach?
On our side here.
Mm-hmm.
So so are we're able to see that they're at the mirror from where our vantage point is?
Mm-hmm.
Does this mirror area look like it has any sort of cover, or is it just a wide open space?
It's just this courtyard inside the interior of the mansion. And you can see the guy. There's the figure that you when you look at them, you can't quite figure out their visage. You like their images don't stick, and so they go over and they start moving their hands along in ornate gestures along the mirror as if to magically activate it.
And is there anything being said? Can we hear anything from where we're at?
Regalia says, not looking at Oda, that the Baroness has been looking for you for a while. I had always suspected it was good of you to come forward.
And at this, I would say Sarah is just kind of looking at Adele. It's like, so do we want to go into the courtyard? Or do you think we should stay here and see if we can kind of gather things from this point?
Adele kind of is like watches. It's like this scene unfolding. It's like before. It's like the two of them and everything, and just it's like before. It's like they kind of like it's like hold. It's like before they kind of like hold in. It's like arm out in front of them, kind of like in that sort of like trying to. It's like hold them back. It's like or it's like keep. It's like or trying to keep Sarah. It's like behind them or something in that sort of defensive gesture. It's like and go. It's like I can go on. It's like ahead, but it's like for you, it's like it might be. It's like safer for you to. It's like watch, don't you think?
And at this, Sarah just grabs your hand and everything. Is and with both like your like hand that's kind of outstretched, trying to like in that like kind of protective thing with both of her hands, and kind of like right at the wrist, and kind of looks at you very seriously and is like, I do not and I will not have you go in alone. I don't care if it's regalia. I don't care what it is. I will not have you going alone. And it sounds like maybe from the little we can hear, maybe Oda's not even here of their own will, or it seems like they might have resigned themselves to whatever's going on down there. I can't really tell from that little bit we just heard.
I want to do it's like gather info roll to see it's like what Oda is really feeling.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah, I actually want to do that too, because I have a kind of a feeling proficiency kind of thing with my my only mortal for my heartfelt, because I am trying to gauge the emotions of this entire situation here. Trying to gauge with the atmosphere of what Regalia and Oda are having down there.
Are you two working in concert, or are these separate attempts? I mean, the nice thing about it being separate attempts is you have different lists of questions, but it's up to you, because that would be also two different roles, so potential for additional consequences.
I think that's up to Sarah. Otherwise, it's like basically rolling for that question at least.
I would say mine would be probably separate, because I'm trying to get whereas Adele's kind of focused on Oda, I'm trying to gather the entirety of like Regalia, the atmosphere down there, and the kind of the feelings of that grouping.
Okay, yeah. So let's do Adele and Oda first, and then we'll do the whole situation. So what is it you're doing, Adele? I mean, it's, I guess, looking like, is there some other approach?
Yeah, I suppose that would probably be either perceive or analyze, of which I don't have any. It's like Dyson anyway, or or a fortune roll.
Okay, so that makes the most sense to me initially, but also what you described, like verbatim text, also matches empathize.
Oh yeah, that's consider my question. Yeah, that does make sense. Let's see.
That.
And I'll expend a link to give you an extra die.
Okay, let's see.
I think the risk here is that things progress quickly and the mirror is going to open. So I think it's risky standard.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're able to read the situation, or Oda at least, fast.
All right, so let's see. That would be 2 die.
Unless you would like to push yourself or anything. Oh, 6. Nice. So you get,
I guess that's 2 questions and a follow-up.
Yeah, I think I may have shortchanged you earlier, David. I don't remember what your role was. I think it was a 4 or 5.
It was a 5.
A 5. So you also get a follow-up. Feel free to call that in whenever.
Okay, so let's see. One question will be, it's like, what is Oda? It's like really feeling, and I suppose how are House Ignis and House Phosphorus connected? If that makes sense in the situation.
I think we have enough fictional justification, considering earlier you're the one who identified this as House Phosphorus. So I think that's the easiest tie-in, is that House Phosphorus saw its rise previously from a lesser house to a greater house under the careful watch and cultivation of House Ignis. So they have been intertwined for some time. Does that feel sufficient to answer your question?
So it sounds like it's like everyone else was pretty much, led to believe that phosphorus just disappeared, but but there's indications to suggest that there's implications to suggest that it was actually assimilated into House Ignis, basically.
Something to that effect, I think so.
Okay.
And then what is Oda really feeling? Oda is always under intense control, right? Like Oda doesn't show her emotions. She only ever reveals the mask. Like, people only see over what Oda wants them to see. And here, I think you see that, and the efforts are redoubled. Like, she is here working carefully, clearly she's up to something, and she doesn't want anybody to see what's going on. And what perhaps is the only time we really see her dig in even deeper is when she's there taking care of and caring for Adele. So I guess we could say that she is feeling Mama Bear.
Okay, let's see. And then I guess with it's like for the follow-up, what is this ritual is like supposed to, what is this ritual trying to accomplish?
They're gonna open the mirror into whatever space lies beyond and connect the two places.
And I can't discern what's at the other side of the mirror. Was it?
I don't think from here inside the mansion, but I don't know. I don't see it. Maybe why not? Like you're here, you're watching, you're carefully studying, perhaps through the window. So yeah, we could say that you can see through it. Rose/Violet question mark next to this shadowy feminine figure on what almost looks like a throne in this dark forest situation, and what looks like 3 terrifying dryads approaching the mirror as well. I think, oh, and then you had a 6, right? Yeah, excellent. So no consequences. So the mirror has not opened yet, but it's in the process.
Okay, and then I think it's Sarah's questions.
All right, so Sarah, what are you going to roll here?
Well, I'm assuming this is going to be, because I'm trying to gauge the atmosphere, gauge the emotions, and also trying to feel like I have a feel of like what this presence of a kind of emanating is kind of suggesting. Like, is this a confrontation about to occur? Is this some greater kind of meeting? Something, the atmosphere I'm trying to feel, I guess, in a way.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that'd be kind of the empathize.
Sure. I think you are reading, you're trying to read the emotions of it all. So you're trying to empathize with everybody all at once.
Whether it's very healthy or not.
All right, we'll do standard effects. That's the easiest way to read the gathered information questions. I think this is also risky, and I think that it's the same situation, like whether or not you can get a read fast enough before the mirror is opened. Otherwise, the situation's going to advance, so to speak.
And
just to yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I already have 1 die for my heartfelt, since I'm basically gauging people's emotions here. And you know what? I will push myself with 2 extra stress to give myself some extra dice.
So that's 3 so far?
Yeah. And yeah, I guess I'll roll and find out what happens.
6.
Yay, 6! Woo! I knew that 3rd die was gonna love me.
So you also have 2 questions and a follow-up.
So yeah, I think the first question I have is generally like, what is the general presence or an atmosphere coming from this? Does it feel like, one, that like Regalia, for instance, is treating Oda and in this situation as a confrontation, or like does it feel like Regalia has like has like almost like Oda kind of as like a prisoner of war in a sense, it sounds like here potentially, or like is there a conflict, just a general conference about to happen, just a general kind of trying to figure out what's Regalia's even like.
So which of your gather information questions is it specifically?
This would be like kind of like the kind of gathering the emotion or atmosphere of Regalia's kind of intent with this entire thing with as a group, because it seems like Regalia right now seems to be the leading.
Okay, so what is Regalia really feeling right now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Regalia is feeling immense pride that she is bringing a prize to a figure of importance.
Okay. And then I guess my other question is, based on everything that we're said and all, is
also self-hatred.
Of course. I understand. And then the other thing, the other question is, does the mirror that's down below here that they're kind of gathering in front of, does it seem to have any kind of similarities or any kind of something that kind of gives that idea of like, oh yeah, so far these mirrors that we've seen, like in our first mission and this mission, is there some similarities? Maybe there's like these there's a particular type of mirror, or like some kind of insignias or anything like that that suggests like, oh, maybe there's particular mirrors that are involved in getting in into this other realm potentially.
So I think we'll we'll use that as your follow-up, because I can't really fit any of your gather information into that, as we've been using follow-up as more loosey-goosey. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think there are clear signs that this is a gateway mirror, for lack of a better term, a portal mirror. The ones we saw in the maze of mirrors with the masked marquee were like frosted over, with like ornate spirals of frost in a very elegant way. And here, I think, as this shadowy visage is moving their hands across the mirror, you see something similar, but it's not frost. It's almost like just etchings in the mirror, and it's also ornate and like vine-like and curling. So it's clear that this, like, that's what the mirror is. It's like a portal situation going on.
So it's kind of this mirror kind of already screams like it's got a uniqueness to it. Okay, so good to know in case we're ever looking for any kind of mirrors in particular that we may want to investigate in the future.
Good call.
And then I guess my actual question for my second question would be then, who here is feeling vulnerable?
Who here is feeling vulnerable? Pardon me 1 second while I just want to make sure I give you a good. Okay. I think that the person in the position, like just based on where everybody is situated, everybody's played out on the board, Oda should be the most vulnerable. But I think here, the one that feels the most vulnerable is this figure who's opening up the portal. There's something about the way they're standing, the way they're moving. Perhaps it's like an anxiousness and a worry that things won't play out exactly as they need them to. Like, there's a lot riding on this moment for this individual, and you can tell that they're feeling very vulnerable at the moment.
Okay, and with all this information, I'm going to say that Sarah just kind of immediately while still in that moment of like having like had grabbed Adele's like wrist earlier and everything, it just kind of was like, I think we need to get down there right now. I don't know why. I just feel like we got to go right now down there.
As a point of order, I want to spend 1 link with Sarah to clear 2 of her stress. Sarah, if Frida were here, she would be telling you that you are exactly where you need to be.
I think I would like to get a check-in on if that is the case, is if Sarah and Adele are going to bust down the door. And then I also want to, after that, I want to check in with Violet to see if you have a follow-up question that you would like to ask David, because I shortchanged you earlier.
So Adele, what do you think here? I'm thinking that we probably want to go down there like ASAP, but I don't know if we want to like just outright shove our way in or not. Like, Sarah is kind of ready to just kind of bust down the door, but she's also kind of understanding at this point that like maybe Adele wanted to now perhaps want to kind of do this a little bit more tactfully. So she's actually being cognizant to like kind of gauge how Adele wants to do this, because this could be potentially hazardous if she were to just do her initial thought at the moment.
Okay, so you're asking Adele what it is they want to do.
Yeah, like how do they want to approach it? Like, do they want to? Are they also of the same feel as Sarah, just to kind of just get down there ASAP? Do not care about whether or not how they announce their presence at this point, or be more tactful, I guess.
So Adele doesn't even actually say anything. It's like they kind of just. It's like, how far are we exactly from the courtyard that they're? It's
You're
like
just on the other side of the doorway. Everybody just happens to be really distracted at the moment.
so Adele's not even going to say anything, but instead they're going to transcend. It's like, and it's a little bit, it's like, it's a lot less performative than it's like what Adele usually does. It's like, so it's like, if anything, it almost looks like a sort of, it's like a burst or a shattering of it's like color, and it's like, and it's like the next moment it's like they've transcended into their, it's like magical girl form, and then it's like they kind of, it's like they take out, it's like their, it's like they take out their weapon. It's like doesn't even unsheath it. Just it's like, or no, actually they will unsheath their spadron and everything, and then just it's like they open the door, and then they hurl their spadron towards the mirror.
Excellent. Great place to cut over. David, did you have a follow-up question you would like to ask?
Yes, it is. Who here is willing to do violence? Specifically, I'm trying to figure out if the Baroness herself is willing to do violence, or if it's just the Dryads, or both, or neither.
Okay. So I think it's clear that the Dryads are ready to do whatever command their mistress gives them. So they're kind of just a funnel point for whatever the Baroness is up to. If she wants violence, then they'll do violence. If she wants them to stand around and look pretty, they'll stand around and look pretty.
Okay.
And the Baroness, I think you get the feel from her based on the way she's moving, almost like a predatory cat. She's just ready to pounce. That is less violence and more cruelty, like a cat playing with a prey animal.
Cool, I can work with that. Okay.
All right. So Bellatrix and Violet, you're standing on this side of the mirror, and you can see this figure come over and start to move their hands around the mirror, and there's like a shimmering and a cracking as the mirror begins to shift. It's like clearly he's working some kind of magical enchantment. And then the door breaks open and a spear comes hurtling at the mirror. What do you do?
Bellatrix, you get dibs on that because I'm still undercover. Unless I need to jump in.
Yeah, one of the dryads makes eye contact with you for a moment, and you're pretty sure it's Bellatrix, and the vibe that she's giving you is following your lead. Bellatrix is a funnel point for your violence.
Sure. Very well, if that's how it's going to be, I would like to spin around and dramatically catch the spear if that's possible.
Okay. So I guess the question here is, because we're all kind of in the same situation, now that we have Elhenna, what is your intent with the spear? To break the mirror before it opens, or to launch it through at whoever's beyond?
They're honestly not sure, actually. They kind of just, it's like, Adele, what are you thinking? The answer is they're not.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's like they literally just basically took their weapon and just lampooned it towards the mirror to see what would happen. And then it's like in the same motion, just basically it's like Broke sprinting towards, it's like Oda on the likelihood that maybe it's like that the mirror might shatter upon impact.
Okay.
I would say it is better for us if the spear goes through the mirror than breaks the mirror, but we'll see what happens.
I think this is I think this is a desperate situation.
Sure.
I think it's there. So it's difficult to assess because the intent isn't particularly clear, other than havoc and damage, which we'll say great effect.
I think the havoc is more so to disrupt or interrupt what's going on, more so than anything. It's just Alhena does not know exactly like what their it's like how the consequences of their action will manifest per se.
Okay. So I think what this looks like is I'll read that in the sense of disrupt the whole situation. And the desperate consequence we're up against here is that the mirror isn't just going to be a passage, is that in this act it's going like the enchantment is going to disrupt, and it's going to join these two places. Like they're going to become, it's not just a passage, a tunnel, it's like they somehow magically become melted together. And so it's this weird, I don't want to say dimensional vortex situation, but like clearly this abyss area and this part of the world, this mansion courtyard, will bleed together.
That'll be interesting. So let's see, that would be, it's like, so I'm rolling as an action?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I guess this would probably be it's like another flow, and then I'm going to push myself for another die.
So you're at 2 right now?
Yeah, just because we're having a thing being thrown, I don't know if I really can assist in this matter, just because it's not like it's pretty much let the object fly. I don't really know if I can really do too much to help it.
So we have a 4.
Yep.
So the spear goes through just as like the enchantment is finishing, and the mirror shatters and the area becomes dark and overwhelming, and the two areas bleed together, and everybody stops what they're doing and all looks at Alhena. I think that's technically a consequence if you want to resist that.
Let's see. Yeah, so is that just, it's like, would that just be it's like, well, I guess, yeah, that would just be a resistance roll, wouldn't it?
I think so. I'll have to double check in between sessions to make sure I'm running resistance and complications correctly. But yeah, so somehow you can contain your power to not shatter the enchantment and combine the two areas. Is I think what the resistance here is.
Am I able to push myself on this one too?
No, this is just automatically happens.
Oh,
You don't see how much stress you take. So it's I should say, let's see here.
I rolled a 6.
Oh, okay. And we have at least a 1 in all of, oh yeah, so it works. Okay, yeah, so no stress, and it just slips through the mirror and goes straight for the Baroness, is who's on the other side. So I'm gonna start a clock. I think this is an 8 clock, and you just had great effect, which is 3 segments. So there is a spear sticking out of the Baroness right now.
Secret snipe attack here. It's
all chaos breaks loose and all eyes are on Alhena.
Since all eyes are on Alhena right now, out of curiosity, what is Regalia and that weird the person doing the enchantment, which I don't know if that's father or not. What are those two doing in this situation and all?
So I think what happens is the enchantment doesn't break, but it does complete so that the spear can go through. And as it completes and the two areas are closer and the forces of the abyss are near, the shadowy part of this person's visage clears, and it's clearly Albrecht. Is that the name?
Yes.
Albrecht.
Where is he? What side of the mirror is he on?
He's in the courtyard. He was the visage that you couldn't clearly define.
Oh wow! So he's in the distillery. He's in the courtyard distillery
Mansion.
of House Phosphorus. Oh boy!
And so then Regalia and Oda, you had asked. Oda and Regalia both turn. There's like a look of horror on Regalia's face, and Oda is like, just always.
Just a typical Tuesday.
Yep. They both turn and look at us.
I would say in this situation, I'm going to abuse the fact that Adele has all the attention right now. And I'm going to, if possible, I would like to kind of try and sneak up and kind of drop, like do like a well, not sneak up, but like do a running kind of thing to slide kick underneath pretty much, if I can, either Regalia or Albrecht, to kind of knock them onto the ground, just kind of just sweep under them.
I'm gonna love the ramifications of you having to deal with Regalia after this. So
oh yeah,
by all means, try to trip Regalia. Yeah.
Oh goody! I had a feeling this was going to happen.
I'm going to assist.
I think this is risky standard. You're both dancers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I had a feeling that was going to be the case. And
I think the risk here. Okay, sorry, continue.
And I guess my other thing is, if I could potentially have like a little kind of flashback here for a potential thing of me being, because like being prepared enough to also bring my baton with me.
Oh, sure, yeah. I think it's a one stress flashback. That seems reasonable.
Yeah, because she realized one thing's for certain. Shoes are a limited size sort of ammo. And whereas with the baton, I might be able to at least like smack something or use it as another means. And also like with the kick and everything, she's also kind of, because this is like a retractable baton, as she's rushing up and everything with she has the baton like kind of unretract in this, and she's going to try to also, if the tripping part fails with the kick, she's going to try to also kind of swing backwards as she passes by to knock from behind as she does it. Kind of just help her with that a little bit. It's just a little flavor thing there. Okay, so it's risky, and I'm getting assistance, so that's one die.
Well, it depends on what action you're rolling. Sorry.
Oh yeah, that is a good question on that one. I would say none of these are going to really work in my favor. I would say maybe in this situation, it's probably defy, because I'm absolutely right now defying Regalia in this situation, or flow because I'm kind of rushing on in here. Yeah. So either way, it's not, I don't have any kind of benefit.
Okay. You have +1 die from Alfina.
And I'll push myself for a poison promise of some sort.
I don't know. This situation's already pretty poisonous for you, I think.
Listen, she's got to do what she's got to do for our friends, and Regalia is in the way of her friends at the moment, and she's gonna risk it here.
How about this one? Regalia is not surprised to see you. She was expecting you, Sarah.
Ah, of course that would be the case. I mean, yeah, that just fits all too well with this. I don't think it's at all a surprise.
Okay, yeah. So I think the risk here then is she's going to make sure that she's like, even if she falls, she's going to grab hold of you, and she's going to entangle herself up with you. So
oh, goody.
With her, for whatever reason she has.
Yeah. All right. Well, It be what it be here.
2 dice.
Was it 2 or 3? Because I'm getting assistance and I'm doing the push.
Oh, so you have a poison promise and you got assistance and you had 0 dice to start. So 2.
Okay. Well,
2 and 6.
Then yeah, 2, 6. So works out.
Yeah. So she falls flat. Like she goes tumbling just as you had desired, and kind of knocked aside and gets, I think, very unbecoming of regalia. It's like falls back into some like pots with like large plants in them, and like these like vases break, and she's all tangled up in there at the moment.
Unfortunately, I'm also tangled up here, but
Oh, you got a 6, so you don't have any complications.
Oh.
So you're free to maneuver. You're not locked up or in.
Well, okay, then I would say, like, with the kind of motion, after having successfully done that, she's just going to start rushing in to join the other 2 on the other side of the mirror. She is going straight over there. She doesn't want to waste any time, so she's joining Violet and Frida on the other side. That's the kind of motion of it. Just slide, knock over, go.
So I think what I would like to do is we check in with Frida and Violet, and we make sure that you, Will and David, you have a chance to do something in this moment here, and then we'll wrap up the session.
Cool.
Let's see. Violet, I'm inclined to try and restrain the Dryads and let you do something with the Baroness.
Yeah,
Does that
that's
seem reasonable
what
to
I
you?
was thinking. Yep.
Okay. So I think what I do is I reach out with both of my arms and I grab both of the other Dryads. I think you said there were 3 Dryads, and so I would be one of them.
Yes.
So I grab the other 2 Dryads and I try to entangle all 3 of us in a giant pile of roots and branches and whipping vines.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. What action are you going to roll?
I think this is Defy.
Yeah,
it's pretty aggro.
Yeah.
I am going to spend a link with Sarah to. Oh, I'm going to push myself, and then I'm going to spend a link with Sarah to clear that stress. Because the memory of the conversation that we had at the carnival plays through, and sort of her listening to me talking about my experience with the shadow figures, and just sort of the memory of that frustration and rage is sort of pushing me into the situation.
All right, so here's my thoughts on position and effect. I think it would have been desperate, but you are transcended, so it's just risky. And I think the effect here had previously. No, I think it's standard. Yeah, I think we're good. Risky standard.
Okay. So I've got 2 dice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So the consequence here that you're looking at is they are covered in thorns, and that's going to be painful.
All right. Also, I am transcended, and I'm engaging a foe. So the Dryads and I are in it.
Yes.
5.
Nice. Okay. I think what this looks like then is level 2 harm. Abyssal puncture wounds.
I'll resist that.
You also have, since you are transcended, armor.
That's true. That's true. I could use my I could blow my armor to
resist that.
Yeah, this is a supernatural effect. I'll take it.
Okay,
I spin my armor.
All right. Yep. So you resist it, and there's no harm. You're able to push through there. And the Dryads are all tangled up, all 3 of them. What is Violet doing at the moment? The spear just came through and punctured the Baroness. She's gripping it and wrenching it out of her.
Okay. I would also like to transcend, and I will try to more or less super speed dash to the Baroness and try to like tackle her against, a tree in the grove or something like that.
Nice. Yeah, I love that. All right, so what action are you going to roll here?
Defy?
Seems legit.
Yeah, that's facing opposition head on, so we'll go with that.
Okay. Last time I didn't notice this. You have righteous. When you confront a deadly foe, of which she is a deadly foe, they are humbled by your bravery.
Mm-hmm.
You forgive a foe, take +1 dice on your roll. So
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just keep that in mind this time. Yeah, so I think she's taken by surprise. One, she's pierced at the moment by this magical girl spear, and then also she does not expect Rose to transform and assault her. So I think you have great effect here. But she is a dangerous foe, so I think we're looking at risky position.
Okay, I'll push myself for another die.
And I will use a link to give you another.
That gets me 3 dice total.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, we can roll that.
And I would say like kind of with the link kind of thing is just kind of that talk from to the previous talk of that we've had of just kind of that thing of like like that talk of like how you would do anything to protect Rose, that kind of, and here you're kind of once again protecting Rose from what was originally her invite here. I feel like is kind of a good way to kind of look at it.
Right. Cool. No, that works. I got a 4 despite the number of dice, so this is a success, but maybe a little bit of a sloppy one.
Yeah, so I guess maybe give me some fiction of what this looks like as you do what you described.
So she's trying to like pull the spear with both hands, right? I think there is this moment where I kind of turn and take off in a dead sprint, and I transform kind of mid stride, and kind of running. And if this were again a manga, it would be you'd have a 2-page spread, and it would be multiple pictures of me running, and each one is like an Animorphs transition into, from left to right. You have normal to full transition or full transcendence, and then there's just another just kind of full page contact as she's blown backward and crashes against a tree. Spear probably still in her. Like this is a full submission takedown that we're going for. And then I'll be nice once she's subdued, but that's later.
Yeah, so I think the additional effect here for great is that like, yeah, as you described, like the spear is still stuck in her and it's now stuck into the tree, so she's kind of pinned there. And the consequence here is I think she has her thorn whip and she like throws it out and entangles you and pulls you close, which would be a desperate position moving forward.
Ooh,
and she
okay.
says, you're free to resist that, or we can see where that leads us.
Actually, given like the way I was kind of charging in, am I in a position where I can choose to do the protect ally option?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna rush in to try and protect against this vine that's coming out as a consequence.
Is that cool with you, David?
Yeah. That's just protect a teammate, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So what is that? What do you okay, so that's violence that you're rolling against, I think here, which is sun. So Sarah, you need to roll, sorry, your sun, which is a 1 die.
I'll spend a link to help you if you'd like.
It's just a resistance roll, so I don't think links apply to that.
Oh, do links not apply to that? Okay.
I don't know. I don't know that rule in particular.
I think it's just action rolls, yeah.
That's fine. Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
All right. Singular die. And can I push myself for that?
Nope, it's just.
Nope, I figured as much. I just double checking on that.
Which you would take stress to not take stress. So
yes.
4. All right, so two stress.
2 stress. Got it.
Yeah, I think the whip starts to come around, and just as Vega kind of tackles the Baroness. Sarah comes out of nowhere and just boom, tackles Vega out of the way. All right, I think that's where we'll stop, and we'll jump into XP and then start some wishes. So we'll start off with the series playbook again, I think. Did you successfully carry out a mission from the series list? I think we're in the process of that. Did you confront the world's oppression and comfort those who suffer?
Let's see here. So we are, I guess, technically confronting part of it, but I don't think yet. Like, I feel like we're still in the midst of this mission, so I don't know if it counts as us yet confronting any oppression. And it's not like we've yet to comfort anybody, obviously. So probably not.
Did you explore the nature of the darkness and redeem those who have fallen?
We're definitely exploring the nature of it, I feel.
Yep, I think so. I think it's worth 2 with all of our investigations directed at it. And then did you express the essential nature, origin, or destiny of the group?
I think the scene between Sarah and Violet is at least 1 point for that.
It's also kind of everybody all together, like what's more destiny of everybody all together. So I think that's worth 2. If everybody's cool with that, we'll give you more XP.
Okay. And then I think we also have Violet's honor bound to check.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I guess that mostly applies at the end of a mission.
That's the end of the mission.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll have to remember that next time.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Who would like to go for their playbook?
I guess I can start. Address a challenge with compassion or honesty. Yeah, my character was playing honest to a lot of her current challenges and everything, and kind of was very honest with Adele about their kind of concerns about things as they're doing the mission, as well as being honest with Violet. So Howell had a lot of that, and a bit of compassion also for talking about family and friends and such. So I'd say like at least 1 there. You expressed your beliefs, drives, role, and background. I don't think there's a single session where I haven't done that a lot. That is just how my character is. Let's see here. You struggled with issues from your promises or obligation. Absolutely, because 1, having I struggled a lot with joining in on a lot of these things because of my obligations and kind of connections with Regalia, and part of my struggles and all is with like my promises and everything. I had the struggle of how should I put it? The initial struggle of things of just like wanting to protect Violet, but also showing that vulnerableness with the talk a little bit, and that just feels a little bit conflicting to her promise of like, I'm trying to protect Violet, and here I'm seeking that kind of consoling from Violet in a way from this talk. And then you embodied your eclipse or displayed the contents of your heart. I mean, yeah, I displayed the contents of my heart, yeah.
Let's see. I can go next if Sarah's done then. Let's see. You addressed a challenge with understanding or coordination. I think there was that time that like it's like with empathizing to understand how Odo is feeling, and some coordination with it's like basically like figuring out like the vague mission plan. Not a very good mission plan, but it's like a vague mission plan, and it's like getting through the hedge maze and everything. So probably 1 on that one at least. Let's see. Expressed your beliefs, drives, role, or background. I think that's Yeah, I would say that was it's like probably 2 cents for the most part. It's like Ahana was kind of aggressively trying to lead. It's like throughout. Let's see, struggled with it's like with issues from your promises or obligation. I guess not quite. Let's see. And then you embodied your eclipse or displayed the contents of your heart. Let's see. I guess it's like they probably have, considering it's like they're acting a little bit more reckless and it's like concern for it's like Oda and everything. So I'd probably put like one. Let's see.
I was like 2.
Yeah, it's like it's like if no one has any issues with that. And I think that's it for me there.
Okay, I think I can go. I addressed the challenge with individual action regression. Yes, multiple times. So I will take 2 for that. You expressed your beliefs, drives, role, or background. Either 0 or 1 for that. I don't think, like, I feel like the rock is falling, but it hasn't landed yet. We're going to have to deal with Albrecht. We're going to have to deal with House Fallout.
I think at least 1 for
Maybe
your background because of the Dryad.
Yeah, I was gonna say 1 for that situation. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. You struggled with issues from your promises or obligation. Again, I'll take 1, but I feel like it hasn't happened yet. I'm backing up Violet here. I'm in it. If Vega's still in it, I'm in it. But I haven't had a situation yet where that's quite gotten ugly. And I'm going to take a 5th point for you embodied your eclipse because I keep calling the darkness to me, and that's probably foreshadowing. So 5 total.
I think that leaves me. So you addressed a challenge with kindness or self-sacrifice. I was kind at times, but I don't think it was in service of addressing a challenge. Definitely expressed my beliefs. I'll say 2 for that. At least when I was in my conversation with Polaris, with the family incense offerings, and then later during the kind of starting the mission off phase and going in talking about what I'm willing to do for Rose. I feel like there was enough discussion of my beliefs and stuff happening there to justify 2. Kind of same thing as Will said for struggling with issues from promises or obligations. I feel like I'm definitely about to
I feel like
back
you
up Bellatrix. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I feel like you did still deal with a bit of that struggle when dealing with Rose prior to going in, and your obligation to your family in a sense of, and especially Rose, and that thing of like trying to work with your sister and the situation, and that struggle, especially with not wanting to reveal your magical self, even though she's like, I need your magical self to help protect me in a sense, and a lot of that little kind of interpersonal thing. I think like 1 XP would be kind of fit that.
Okay. Okay. And then embodying Eclipse or displaying the contents of your hearts. I'm kind of inclined to err on the side of saying maybe once. I feel like things are kind of getting darker when I transformed into a tackling someone who's just been speared. And displaying the contents of my heart probably happened when I was, again, going back to the conversations I've been having with Polaris. So I think that comes out to a total of like 4, maybe, which I'm fine with.
Awesome. If you don't mind, also, David, checking your transcended box, and then one of your transcended Squares.
Oh, sure. Yep, I'll do that real quick.
Cool. All right, stars and wishes. This was 3 hours that blew by quickly for me. It's kind of a blur. I'll have to definitely go back and check the footage. Big star to everybody for running with this weird dual mission thing before it came together, sort of. And wishes next time to see how this unfolds with this nexus of all of these people brought together, and what's that about? Why are they all here? And to see how the characters respond to that and what comes of it. I'm excited to see what happens there.
I'll go next, I guess. So Star loved kind of everything kind of leading up to us, first of all, just kind of discussing in the hideouts, discussing amongst ourselves like a bunch of plans and thoughts. I always love our teams kind of trying to figure out things before we even went into a mission, like actually discussing it before even doing it. Love those conversations that we have, and then absolutely enjoy kind of how this is all kind of crashing together at the moment. I loved the I'm going to become one with the background here and become a dryad in a sense here. Loved that little use of your background in a sense, and absolutely enjoyed that. Enjoyed also just the chaos of the surprise attack from both Alhena and Violet, as they kind of just both kind of did something crazy right as they transcend. I think that just was really wonderful. Wishes, honestly, just kind of really wanting to see where everything goes here, and dreading the inevitable of whatever happens from me tripping Regalia, but that's a whole different story.
I can. It's like,
go for it,
no,
Queen.
no, you can go.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right. Danny, I think you did a fantastic job rolling with a split engagement and then tying them back into the same location. Mad props for that. And a solid job spotlighting between the two situations. David and Violet and Sarah, I love the scene that you had where you were dealing with family obligations and the blurred lines between family and friends and the found family dynamic. That was a serious heart props situation. And Alhena or Adele at the time, you're dry. Does Regalia really live like this? Like, your priorities upon coming into the distillery was a serious spit take moment for me. And I'd say we've set up a whole lot of social consequences for next session, and I'm fascinated to see those play out with Regalia and Albrecht and a lot of people who are about to find out a lot of things.
Yeah, it's like, I suppose I can go next if it's like, well, is like done then. Let's see. It's like stars too. It's like everybody. It's like Danny for basically rolling with essentially Adele accidentally dropping the whole let's split the party plan. It's like it's like everybody, and it's like everything. Speak up. Please let me know if like my character is like taking things too far, making things too annoying or anything. It's like let's see. It's like stars too. It's like basically it's like Sarah and Violet and Frida. It's like and everything with like all the action. Sarah is like basically it's like Sarah seemed to like basically it's like kind of torn between like, oh, I get to help with the mission, and oh no, it's like, what if I get caught by it's like Regalia, and it's like basically it's like the little plan of like, hey, Violet, can you impersonate your sister? I mean, maybe. I don't know how well this will go. It's like, yeah, and everything between. And it's like, let's see, it's like, and all the, it's like fallout that it's like we're probably going, it's like that's probably going to hit us pretty hard in the next session and everything. Yeah, it's like basically wishes. Oh shoot, I have to wait another week to see everything. It's like to see all the fallout coming through and everything. But yeah, it's like this, it's like, but yeah, it's like big stars to everybody. It's like, as Danny said, this was a pretty fast 3 hours that just, it's like kind of sped by.
And yeah, for me, I would say, yeah, big props to Fumi for the do you really live like this, and for setting up the party split. Danny, huge props to you for taking the party split and running with it so effectively. The jumping back and forth, I think, can be really cool. I really like when referees do dramatically appropriate slam cuts to the other group. That's actually sometimes even more fun than if you keep everybody together. So I loved it. I thought it was great. No problem with it. Um, Will, the idea for me to impersonate my sister and the idea for you to impersonate a dryad, both big fan, so that was good. And Clarice, I just thought the scene with the incense and the offerings and the meaning of family was a very nice, heartwarming counterpart to all of the action in the back third of the session. So it was a really well balanced session, and I'm looking forward to it next time. No real wishes for me. This one felt like it ran real smooth, good pacing all around. I liked it.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.
Take care,
Have a
everyone.
good one, everyone.
Yeah, wait till next week.